Hi there, welcome in. Here's a thought. A lot of the people who keep a gun at home for safety are the same ones who refuse to wear a seatbelt. George Carlin, supposedly. And I'm going to add to that a mask. But first to Olympic rings, Canadian flags, and moments of pure joy. And so, a year late and with far less fanfare than we've seen in our lifetimes, the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games are done till the Paralympics begin on August 24th. As usual, I went in having close to zero interest, and I hate to admit that because it just seems so wrong. But I came out with a heart full of pride for all the athletes, and of course our Canadians. With a record 24 gold, silver, and bronze in non-boycotted games, it's a record. And many of our participants coming home with only memories and a whole lot of experience for next time. They're all winners. I've got undying respect for their commitment, their sacrifices, their talent, and their courage. So what have we done for Canada lately, besides cheering on our athletes, being respectful to competitors from other countries, and sharing in an immense amount of national pride? Well, let's see. We could defend our borders, and not with the guns mentioned by Mr. Carlin, but with masks. And here's the unpopular part. Closures to some. I know people have many really good reasons to want to open the borders again, especially to American travelers, matters of the heart, and people who haven't hugged or seen a family member in a year and a half. Then there's the economy. Like so many in the lower latitudes of Canada, I reside in an area that depends largely on US dollars. So I understand a lot of people are figuratively dying for those American greenbacks. But actually dying for them, no thanks. Come on into Canada, or for that matter, into BC from Alberta, but please, only if you can prove you've been double vaccinated or have a legit reason not to have been. A vaccine passport is not a huge deal. Travelers to foreign countries have needed them for decades in the cases of highly infectious and deadly diseases, such as yellow fever, polio, meningitis. My dad would get several shots to travel to the less developed part of the world during his time in the armed forces. It's what you did to protect yourself. And unless I'm mistaken, most kids have to prove they've had their shots before even being let into school with other children. It's been a thing forever, but somehow people scream about a dictatorship. If you have to prove you've had a vaccine during a worldwide pandemic, good Lord, the entitlement, short-sightedness, the selfishness. I'm not going to argue with people who are still against the vaccine, like James on my Facebook page yesterday, who said, brainwashed. And I responded, better than brain dead. Because Jimmy boy, at this point, it seems the only thing that gets through some people's heads or changes, that is, some minds, is finding themselves or their own loved ones in the ICU. But if our grandson, his 2-year-old sister, or anyone in our family is hospitalized this fall because a parent of one of his little classmates contracted COVID due to their cell phone science searching on the toilet, I'm going to be looking for names. And if somebody comes into my dad's senior's residence and hasn't been vaxxed and passes on a breakthrough variant to him, his 91-year-old gal pal, or anyone else there because of the employee rights, same fury. At this point, the vast majority of those not vaccinated are the ones dying from COVID. But that doesn't spare the ones who can't be from suffering and living with long-term effects. Please, don't stop begging those around you who haven't made up their minds yet. It's not just about them. And for those who say no one should be forced to do anything, like Ontario's Doug Ford, remind him about seatbelts. Yeah, you can still be in an accident wearing a seatbelt, but you're far less likely to die or suffer terrible consequences. That's not science, it's common sense. Please. And I'll be back with you here on Thursday. Yay!